I've heard this. I heard this lady, and I told her I was going to be interviewing you, and she's like, "I wish my dad was like Nick."
Oh,
That's what she said. She wished she could have grew up with a dad like you. You're like the all-American dad, husband, father. You're like a really good model of what an American man should be. And I've heard this. I was talking to someone, and they're like, this lady, and I told her I was going to be interviewing you. This I was just a trip I was just on. And she's like, "I wish my dad was like Nick."
Oh,
that's what she said. She wished she could have grew up with a dad like you. How did someone become? How'd you grow up? Like, where'd you grow up? I know you don't want to talk about where you grew up, but where'd you grow up? How'd you grow up, and what were your parents like?
So I grew up in California, which is a beautiful place, just horribly run. But no, I grew up. My mom was actually going to Biola, which is the Bible College of Los Angeles in Southern California.
Yeah.
She was studying to be a nurse. She had actually just got an offer to go down to Colombia because she was also a Spanish speaker. So she was going to do part of her nursing school in Colombia as part of also her Spanish language training as well. And she found out she was pregnant with me. And her and my dad were not married at the time. I was definitely not a part of their plan at that point. And there were people in my mom's life because, again, she was going to a Bible college in LA. You can't be pregnant going to a Bible college in LA at that particular time, or at least it was problematic. We'll put it that way. Yeah. And so she did have people close to her that was like, well, there's an easy solution to this. And that was completely unacceptable for my mom. And then her and my dad ended up getting married. I didn't actually know this story until I was 16. And the only reason I found out about it was because I was going through my grandpa's den, and I was looking at an old wedding invitation for my dad and mom, and they got married in February, and I was born in August, and I started doing the math. I remember looking at my grandfather going, "Am I premature?" And he goes, "Why do you ask me that?" And I told him, and get a call from my dad, "Hey, I understand you just found out." My mom and dad had me and my brother. My mom and dad got divorced shortly after that. My dad lived down in Southern California. My mom moved back up to Northern California. And so I would spend the school year with my mom, the summers with my dad. That's how I grew up. But I always say my mom got remarried, and then her and my stepdad got divorced. And then my dad got remarried, had 7 more kids. So I have another 7 brothers and sisters. Wow. I'm the oldest of 9. My youngest brother is younger than my oldest daughter. So my daughter has an uncle that's younger than she is. That's when I told my dad, I was like, "Hey, it's going to start getting weird here, Dad. You're going to need to hang up the spurs." But unfortunately, my dad and my stepmom are also going through a divorce now too. So, and then my wife's family was somewhat similar. Her parents had gotten divorced and remarried. They all stayed together though. And her stepdad, wonderful, wonderful guy. So my wife and I both grew up in kind of somewhat tumultuous. I don't want to sit here and say, "Oh, broken family." It was, because I didn't feel that. I felt love from my dad. I felt love from my, mom. It wasn't ideal.
Right.
But that was kind of that was the environments that both my wife and I grew up in. And then my wife and I started dating in high school. I went off to the military, and we got married less than a year out of high school. So that was kind of the environment. My grandparents actually were hugely important in my life growing up.
How long has it been now? You guys?
We've been married 25 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been married 25 years now. So yeah, 3 kids. My oldest daughter's 21, just got married to a great guy. And then my son's 18, about to go off to the military, and my youngest daughter's 16. So one of the things that was really formative to me growing up was the amount of time I got with my grandparents. When my dad couldn't be there, which was often obviously for obvious reasons, my grandfathers really stepped in and I think filled, part of that role. But yeah, I always say it might not have been the ideal situation growing up, but I always felt love, and to this day I have a great relationship with my dad and my mom.